What do I do when my family thinks I left my abusive husband for another guy? My phone rang as I crossed the Oklahoma border, tears rushing down my cold cheeks. I wiped the tears from my eyes, being careful of my black eye before pressing the green answer button on my Bluetooth. Hello? I asked. Sierra? Mom's cold voice came through the car speakers loud and clear. What's this I hear from your husband? You left him for another guy? I froze in my seat, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. I spotted a rest stop up ahead and pulling into the parking lot, sitting back in my seat with a sigh. That's what he told you? I asked quietly. I didn't leave him for another guy. Of course you did. Why else would you leave such a wonderful man like him? I snorted at her words. A wonderful man like him? I repeated. Tell that to my black eye. She paused and silence fell. For a long moment, all I heard was her heavy breathing. Why are you lying to me? She finally asked. I laughed again. I'm not lying. I shook my head and remembered back to the first time my husband laid his hands on me in anger. I had burned dinner that he forced me to cook for him, and he thought I did it on purpose, calling me lazy and stupid. Then he slapped me across the face. I told myself I would leave him then, but he came back and apologized, giving me flowers and promising to never do that again. The next week, he broke my arm by shoving me down the stairs. Once again, he felt so bad about it and doted on me lovingly for weeks during my recovery. A few months later, I had forgotten to give him a message from his boss, and he ended up losing his job because he missed an extra day of work. He beat me almost half to death because of that one, but every time he hurt me, I would tell myself to leave. But each time he would confuse me with dates and flowers and expensive things. He would love me like I wanted to be loved, but this time he went too far. He threatened to kill me, and there was something in his eyes that made me believe him, so I ran. I shook my head to clear it. Mom, he beats me all the time, I explained. I had to get away to save my life. Mom scoffed. Come home, Sierra. We're waiting for you. Then she hung up. I pulled my car back onto the highway and drove the rest of the way to my parents' house. I froze when I saw my husband's car in the driveway. How did he get here so fast, and why was he here? My legs shook as I got out of the car and headed up to the porch. Mom opened the door and ushered me inside, ignoring my red face and black eye. I avoided eye contact with my husband when I entered the living room to find my entire family sitting there. The only family member I actually tolerated was my oldest brother, who was a cop. He sat in the recliner by the fireplace and frowned when he saw my face, glancing at my husband with a raised eyebrow. Do you want to tell us why you left him for another man? Dad asked gruffly. I glanced around the room and realized that my family have already made up their minds to believe my husband. They didn't really care about the truth. That was when I knew what I had to do. I pulled out my phone that held all the evidence. My husband abused me throughout our relationship, I said calmly, pulling up pictures. I passed my family and went directly to my cop brother, handing him the proof. I've been collecting images ever since the first time he slapped me. I won't be the victim again. The truth is that I left him because he promised to kill me next time, and I was afraid for my life. I ignored everyone else, staring at my brother and pleading with him to believe me. He flipped through the pictures, growing angrier with everyone. Finally, he handed the phone back to me and stood to his full height, turning to face my husband. My husband paled and stood to run, but my brother cut off his escape. I'm calling my partner, he said firmly. I'm off duty right now, but my partner is not. You're going away for hurting my sister. I cut my family off after that. My brother had me move in with him, and he cut contact with the family too. My husband's trial was long and horrible. I had to stand up there and explain everything he did to me, but in the end, he was convicted and went away for a very long time. It took some time for me to recover, but with my brother's help, I learned to love again.